Everybody, welcome to another edition of the Coaster Report. If you haven't seen a Coaster Report before, this is where I go on a trip to a theme park, and I come back and I tell you all about it. So I recently came back just today from a trip to Virginia. We drove all the way from Ohio to Virginia. It's about 7.5, 8 hours, depending on how often you stop and where you take. We just got back today. We were there for 4 days, not counting driving days. Four days there and 2 driving days. So a pretty long trip. We hadn't been on a trip for like 2 years, 3 years. We haven't been on a trip in 3 years. So it was a rough one to get back into doing some traveling. So we went down to Williamsburg, Virginia to do some exploring of the area down there. So we did Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, and King's Dominion. But I'm only going to talk about Busch Gardens, Williamsburg today. I'll talk about King's Dominion in a later coaster report. I only had time to prepare for this one today. So this is what you get for right now. All right, so just a little bit of background. So both of us had been to Busch Gardens before. I went when I was very young, probably like 5 or 6, and then again in 2009, but I don't remember like anything from that trip. And Jordan went in, I think 2000 was what you said? Correct me if I'm wrong, 2000. So it had been a long time for both of us. So basically it was kind of like going there for the first time, since we didn't really remember it very well. And a lot of stuff has changed in the park since then. Yeah, when you went, Dragonfire was still there. I don't know if Dragonfire probably wasn't there when I went. Definitely wasn't in 2009. Right? I think. I don't know. So we figured high time to go back there and check out what was new. Yeah, Big Bad Wolf was there when I went in 2009, but I don't think I rode it. Like I said, I don't really remember anything from that trip. So this was starting fresh for me. So yeah, like I said, we were in Virginia for 4 full days. We spent the first full day at Busch Gardens, second full day at Busch Gardens. Third full day was half King's Dominion, half Busch Gardens, and then the last day was King's Dominion. So we split it up a little bit. I'm not going to go through like a chronological summary of everything we did, because we kind of did everything. Despite only being in the park for maybe like 4 hours each day, we went, since it was Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, end of August, schools have started up again. Park was kind of dead, so lines were short. We got to experience a lot of stuff, and it was a lot of fun. Yeah, I did everything. Jordan watched me. Absolutely. Please compare theming to normal Cedar Fair parks. Easy. We'll do. All right, so basically what I'm going to do is, like with the last coaster report for Cedar Point, I'm just going to kind of go through all the rides I went on, from basically least worst to best, vaguely. Like with ranking things is hard, because I like everything basically. So it's going to be a very rough ordering. On par with Disney, it's actually really close. Busch Gardens theming in general is very good. If you feel like, I don't think it's quite on par with Disney, but on a scale of like 0 to 10, where 0 is literally a box in a field, and 10 is Disney, Six Flags is at like I don't know, a 3. Cedar Fair is like a 4. Busch Gardens is at like an 8. It's up there. They're doing well. All right, well, let's march along though. All right, first thing in my list. So I rode Oscar's Whirly Worms. So they have a kiddie area, a Sesame Street themed kiddie area, and they've got some rides that are mostly for kids, but they will let adults ride some of the rides. Not all of them. We don't have children, but I felt like I wanted to try this one out anyway. Yes, Jordan did take a video of me riding this. So basically, Oscar's Whirly Worms, a Zamperla rock and tug. If you've seen a disco ride, it's basically a smaller version of that. You're in a little car and it goes back and forth, and it spins around, and it doesn't really do much of anything, but you know what? It was still a fun way to spend 5 minutes. It's going on YouTube? Okay. You know, if you send me the video, I will put it up on YouTube. I will do that. I'll put it on my channel, and thousands of people can see it. It'll be a great time. All right. So that was that. Next up, Tempesto. This is, as you can see, it's pretty far down in my list. This is a Premier Skyrocket from 2015. So it's a launch coaster that you... top pick is not mine. Some of these picks are not mine. I forgot to credit whoever did the top pick. It's from RCDB. Bottom pick is mine. But it's a launch coaster. It launches you out of the station. You launch backwards, and then you launch again through like 2 loops, and you come back. It's short, and it's really weird, and it's really uncomfortable. Their strengths are really cramped, and I don't like being launched backwards very much. I rode it twice. Second ride was a little bit better, but I'm still not really sure if I liked it or not. It was a very strange experience. I'd probably want to try it again next time I go, just to make sure how I feel about it. It was very strange. But people seem to like it, so you know, good for them, I guess. All right, so that's Tempesto. It's okay. It's fine. All right, next up, the other ride in the kiddie area that we went on, and this was the one that Jordan was mainly here for. This is the main reason that we drove 7.5, 8 hours in the car, was for Grover's Alpine Express, the Zero Kiddie coaster. We rode this one twice. Again, you don't need a kid to ride this one. They will let big dumb adults ride it like us. And it's a kiddie coaster. It's not particularly tall. It's not particularly fast. But it's not bad. It doesn't go very slow either. For a kiddie coaster, it does what it needs to do. It was enjoyable. It's a lot of fun hearing all little kids scream, I guess. So this is not one of those that's like 30 trains long. No, I think this is only actually, you can count in the photo here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cars long, and each car only seats 2 people. So it's not a super long train. And the first seat's taken up by Grover himself. He kind of blocks your view, which is annoying. But yeah, cute coaster, fun ride, worth it if you got the time, I guess. Would ride again. All right, InvadR is next. The GCI coaster built in 2017. I wish this one was higher up in the list. I wanted to like it. And I did like it. Like I said, I like most things, but I didn't like it as much as I thought I would. Especially when you're comparing it to Mystic Tempers, the GCI at Kings Island, which is a much larger, more intense ride. This one's a little bit more scaled down, a little bit slower. It's fine. It does the job, I guess, but it's not particularly intense. It doesn't do a whole lot except, it's got some hills, it's got some turns, but like there's nothing particularly unique about it. And it's already kind of rough. It's only 5 years old, and it's already got that kind of wooden coaster shake that you get, which is surprising considering it's a GCI. I feel like it should still be pretty smooth at this point, but so yeah, I was kind of disappointed by this one. Also, terrible ride ops. They were only running 1 train, and they were so slow. So this is the longest wait I had in the park by far. Like I said earlier, the park was pretty much dead. Like almost everything was basically a station wait, which is why the wait times aren't listed. But this one, yeah, they were dispatching like 10 trains per hour. So that's like a 6-minute dispatch, which is awful because they're only running 1 train. So we had to wait like 20 minutes for this, I think. 20, 30 minutes maybe. I think it was closer to 30, so not great. But yeah, kind of unfortunate. Yeah, plus it was 95 degrees out. Not a lot of shade. There was a little bit of shade. You get more shade here than pretty much any other park. But still, yeah. But, you know, not to be too harsh on this ride, it was fine. It was fine. If you like wooden coasters, you'll probably enjoy it. And I like wooden coasters, and I enjoyed it. Just not as much as I feel like I ought to have. All right, next in the list, a classic, the Loch Ness Monster. The Aero Looper from 1978. Went on this one twice, I think in the second or both times. With the classic, iconic interlocking loops. And it's not bad. For an Aero Looper from the 70s, it actually runs surprisingly smooth. The track itself is pretty smooth. Some of the transitions, of course, like Aero does, they're a little janky. You get a little bit of headbanging, especially around some of the, there's some snappy turns, turn around before like that first loop. There's a part where you twist you to the left real quick and your head slams in the restraints, and that's not great. And it's got this extremely weird layout. Doesn't feel normal for a coaster because you got the first half of the ride very long, you got the loop, you got the really long helix, and then you go to a very short chain lift, second loop, and then you're done. It just feels like it's not paced right. I know they did it that way so they could have trains going through the loops at the same time, which they don't do anymore because they don't run enough trains for it. Very weird ride, but you know, it's an old Aero Looper, worth riding, absolutely. But you know, not one of the top tier coasters at Busch Gardens. All right, let's take a quick break. Oh yeah, seeing the trains go by is a lot of fun for sure. That was one of the coasters where there's a lot of great spots to watch the trains go by. All right, let's take a quick break from mine. Let's talk about snacks real quick. We didn't eat a ton in the park despite being there for 3 days. So on Thursday, we just got some snacks. Got a pretzel from the German Pretzels and Beer location. I think that's the name of it. I don't know if it has a real name, but you gotta love some park pretzels. I wasn't super impressed by them. I think we're a little bit spoiled with some of the pretzels we've had from Cedar Fair Parks and Disney. So these were a little bit not as good as those, but still, it's hard to beat a nice big soft pretzel on a hot park day. And Jordan got some Dole Whip from Roman Freeze, which, by the way, great name for a Roman themed ice cream shop. Very good Dole Whip. I mean, it's hard to go wrong with a good Dole Whip. And it was, you know, considering how hot it was most of the day, even though we got there when we were there at night, getting the Dole Whip, and it wasn't so hot out, but still very satisfying. All right, next ride. Not just coasters, we're doing all the rides. Busch Gardens Railway. It's the train that goes around the park. We rode the train because who doesn't love a good train ride? Not a lot to say about this. It goes around the outside of the park. You do get some cool views of some of the backlot stuff. I always really enjoy seeing all that. You get some good views of some of the coasters that are a bit harder to see, like Pantheon and like the big stadium thing out in the back. And it's, you know, it's fun. It's a train. Not much to say about it, but yes, it does look. I said the same thing when I first saw this train. I was like, oh my god, that looks exactly like Thomas the Tank Engine. And it does. It's the same thing. It's great. Oh yeah, you go through InvadR. Yeah, the train ride goes through the InvadR layout under the track. It's really awesome. Another thing this park does really great is like interactions between rides and path. Everything kind of smushes into each other. The different rides, the walkways, and everything. Really fantastic. So you get a lot of great views of everything from everywhere else, if there's not trees in the way. All right, next up, Mäch Tower. It's a drop tower. If you've been on a drop tower, you've kind of been on them all. So not much to say about this one. It's a rotodrop, so you get to spin as you go up to the top, so you get some good views. And that's about all I have to say about it. The restraints on this one are awful. There's nowhere to put your arms. It's like the people who designed the restraints didn't have any arms, because there's like sidewalls to the seats, and then the vest is like right next to the sidewall. So like, where do your arms go? It doesn't make any sense. I don't understand it. It was uncomfortable, but it's still, you know, a fun drop tower. I like me a good drop tower. It's good stuff. Yeah, the ride operators were fun. The ops at Busch Gardens in general were pretty good, aside from aforementioned InvadR. Stuff was going pretty good. Yeah, the ops at Mäch Tower definitely were enjoying themselves and having a good time. So that's always fun to see, the ops enjoying themselves. All right, one of the last things we did before we left on Friday night was Finnegan's Flyer. S&S Scream and Swing 2019. I talked a little bit about the Scream and Swing at Cedar Point and how I rode it for the first time this year and really enjoyed it, despite it being, you know, just a giant swing. Not a whole lot to say about it, but I figured, you know, why not give this one a shot? It's exactly the same ride, basically. I think this one's a little bit smaller scale. It doesn't seat as many people, and it might be a little bit shorter, but still quite enjoyed it. One thing about this one is that the swings on the upswing, they kind of stop a little bit earlier than they should, so they really ejects you out of your seat when you're at the crest of the swing. And I don't think going to Cedar Point is quite that aggressive, so that was fun. But yeah, it's a swing ride. All right, next up, Skyride. We were disappointed that when we went to Cedar Point, we didn't have time to go on the Skyride there. So, but I made sure to make Jordan go on the Skyride at Busch Gardens. And excellent, top tier Skyride. Rather than going back and forth, this one is in a triangle. There's 3 legs that go in a circle. We managed to ride all 3 legs. One of the legs goes inside the track of Griffon, the drop coaster, vertical drop coaster. We'll get there. So that's really cool. Like I said, a lot of interaction between the different rides. So it was really neat to really get inside of the rides, get really close-up views. Really fun Skyride. You know, lots to see in the park, and you get to see even more of it with rides like this. So it's good stuff. Yeah, it goes over Loch Ness Monster. I mean, I have to look at a map to know exactly what everything goes over, but yeah, we got some really good photos and videos of Loch Ness Monster on the first ride through. You get to see it go through the layout from up high. It was really awesome. All right, speaking of Griffon, here it is on my list. I don't actually know what number we're on. I think there's 4 coasters to go. But Griffon is up next. The B&M dive coaster from 2007. Won this one twice. And if you've seen a dive coaster, it kind of does the dive coaster thing. You get a vertical drop, an Immelman, and then you get another vertical drop and another Immelman. So very, very typical stuff for a drop coaster. The one extra redeeming element on it is the splashdown. The best splashdown on a roller coaster, I'm gonna say. Really fun to just watch. The viewing area for Griffon is fantastic. There's a lot of path that goes around it and underneath it, so you can see this coaster from anywhere. There's a nice little shady area of picnic tables right by the splashdown, so you can just sit and watch it go. A lot of fun. Really, and a fun coaster too. Not as good as Valraven, of course, because it doesn't have as many like unique elements, I think. But it does what it does very well, I think. So pretty good stuff for Griffon. All right, we also got Apollo's Chariot, the B&M Hyper from 1999. This is the prototype B&M Hyper, so the very first one they built. Got 3 rides on this one, and it's pretty good. It's if you've been on a B&M Hyper, or if you've seen one, it's kind of the same as all the other ones. Just a bunch of hills over and over and over again. It kind of goes back into the woods, which is fun. I got one night ride on this one. For all the night rides, there are no lights. Nothing is lit up at all. So if the rides go back into the woods, you can't see where you're going, which is kind of fun, I suppose. I like to see where I'm going at least a little bit. But that made it a little bit more exciting, I guess. But yeah, and it's fine. I feel like it's kind of been outshined by the hypers that have come after it. Like I've said in my Kings Island reports, a big fan of Diamondback. Diamondback is almost the same coaster as this, but I've found Diamondback to be more fun. I'm not really sure why. Maybe it's because I rode it first, and this one just kind of feels like the same thing. But still a very fun ride, and definitely one that you gotta get on when you're there, I would say. Griffon was lit up, yeah, but that's because Griffon was, it's all like inside the path. So it doesn't go off into the woods or anything like some of these coasters do. Yeah, Griffon was very well lit, but this one was not. Okay, I think we have three coasters to go. So before we get to my top 3 coasters at Busch Gardens, another food slide. We did get lunch on Wednesday. I got some poutine from Les Frites in the New France area, because I see poutine and I gotta get me some poutine. Love me some poutine. And as far as park poutine goes, wasn't bad. Wasn't like too greasy or anything. It was a lot of food, which is nice. Oh my god, Pompeii! I forgot a slide for Pompeii. Okay, I'll talk about Pompeii real quick before we're done with the lunch slide. Oh, I can't believe it. I messed up so bad. Yeah, it was, but it was pretty good. I mean, it's not as good as, you know, your homemade stuff or what you get in actual Canada, but not terrible. You never heard of poutine? Well, it's French fries and brown gravy and cheese curds. It's a Canadian staple, and because I'm a wannabe Canadian, I love me some poutine. It was fine. For park food, it was pretty fine. And Jordan got some veggie lo mein from Marco Polo's Marketplace, which was also fine. It was a little bit oily, but tasted good. It was good to get some vegetables. You can't get enough vegetables when you're in a park, because it's too easy to just eat junk food all day. All the carbs and sugar. So you gotta take those opportunities to get vegetables. Canadian salad, yes. But yeah, it was a little bit too oily. Didn't make me feel great either, especially when you're out in the hot sun all day. Not really what you want to be eating. So, but yeah, not terrible. Okay, so real quick about Escape from Pompeii. So it's their Splash Boats ride. And I mentioned earlier that I came to the park when I was very little, about 5 or 6, I'm gonna guess, maybe 4. I don't know how old I was, but this is one of my like earliest memories that I have at all, is riding Escape from Pompeii at that age and being absolutely like scared out of my mind. And I just remember being like seeing the flames inside the show area at the top of the splash boats, and there's like, you know, animatronic stuff falling from the ceiling, and I was scared out of my mind, and I was crying, and it was awful, and it was a traumatic memory that I've held to this day. So I finally this past week went on Escape from Pompeii for a second time to relive those traumatic memories. I had to be at least 6. It didn't open until I was 6. Okay, so maybe. So then I was 6 or 7. That would make sense. Yes, I am very old. It's true. But regardless, I had a bad time. And so I rode it again, now that I'm a big grown adult, and it was fine. I didn't scream or cry. It was really hot though. All those flame effects, real flames, and it's really, really hot. But it was fun. It's a splash boat. You see the flames, the animatronics, and then you go down the hill, and you get a little bit wet, but it's a billion degrees outside, so you dry off immediately, and it's fine. But yeah, not a bad ride. It's a splash boats, but it's, you know, Busch Gardens, so great theming, A+ theming for Escape from Pompeii. It opened in 95. Okay, so we probably went very soon after it opened then, yeah, 95 or 96. But I'd have to ask my parents. They might know, but I'm not sure. All right. My number 3 coaster at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. I was surprised that this coaster ranked so high that I liked it as much as I did. We got Verbolten, the Zero launch coaster, opened in 2012. Got 3 rides on this thing. This is what replaced Big Bad Wolf after it closed. Rest in peace, Big Bad Wolf. But this is a worthy replacement, I think. This is a super fun ride. It's like not the tallest or fastest or most intense, but it is a boatload of fun. And you got some launches, you got a dark section, you got the drop track, and it just does a whole lot of stuff one after another. And it's a really good time. Really enjoyed it. And I was fortunate that there weren't really any lines, because apparently this one gets super long lines. I don't know if that's because it's popular or because it's a slow loader, but definitely will want to re-ride this one again in the future. It's good stuff. All right, number 2, Alpengeist. Not to my surprise. I knew I was going to like this one. I think I rode this one when I went in 2009. I must have. Like, I have a vague memory of this one. So this is the B&M invert from 1997. Basically, Raptor's little brother. Or maybe bigger brother. I'm not sure which one's bigger. But in a lot of senses, a very similar ride. But of course, it's themed a little bit better. But yeah, great layout, very good pacing, really good forces on this one as well. I like a lot of forces on my coasters. And this one's got a really good, some nice G's on that first drop and the loop and the Cobra roll. Lots of fun. Did have to make sure you wait in the front row. It was really funny. I think the last time I rode it, there was a line of about 10 people for the front row, and every other row was completely empty. But so you could lap it if you didn't want to ride in the front. But I did want to ride the front at least once, so I did make sure to wait for that. But it was worth it, because this ride is a lot of fun. You think this has the biggest drop inverted? It might. It probably does. I don't know the stats off the top of my head, but you're probably right. All right, and number 1, if you can probably guess what it is if you're paying attention. Pantheon. I didn't think this would make my number 1, but it did. After a lot of thought and consideration, the top 3 are all very close. Like I said, I like most things, and I had a great time on all the coasters. So this is the brand new Intamin triple launch coaster. Came out earlier this year, and I grabbed 3 rides on it. It took me a while to get used to what I was doing, because this is a ride that's very unique, kind of like Tempesto. It took me a while to get used to it and figure out what was going on. But once I got used to it and kind of like learned the ride, basically, very enjoyable. I still am a little bit iffy on like the first launch. It's like a tiny launch into a corkscrew, and then you get the 3 big launches to start the ride. So that felt a little bit weird to me. I'm not sure if that's like good pacing or not. I don't know. But on the whole, ride's very good. You get a lot of fun elements, a lot of big hills, like overbank turns. There's a really good stall. I guess it's not a stall. It's a full like barrel roll. But you hang upside down for like a full second as you go through it. And it was a lot of fun. So yeah, excellent ride. Worth the hype. Liked it a lot. Made the top of my list, A-. Yeah, this is my overall number 1. No, not overall number 1. This is my overall number 1 for Busch Gardens. I think this cracks my top 10 overall, but I've got like 70 some credits. So I don't think that really says a whole lot. And I haven't really ranked everything, so that doesn't really mean a whole lot of anything. Does it beat Steel Vengeance? No. I don't think it beats Steel Vengeance. Steel Vengeance is probably in like my top 4, and this is probably in like my top 10. I don't remember exactly where those things place, but somewhere in that vicinity. Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't know how I would rank Banshee versus Alpengeist versus Raptor. Like, they're all I enjoy them all a whole lot, and they're all very similar. I think Raptor is my favorite, then Alpengeist, then Banshee, but like, I don't know. They're all good. Okay, so that's all the rides. That's all we did at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, as far as rides go. So now just some kind of general thoughts to wrap up the presentation here. Great park overall. I had a fantastic time. Like I said, we were here for 3 days. We weren't here for like a full day every time, but like when we were here, we really enjoyed it. There's a whole lot to do. A lot of rides go on. So for the coaster enthusiasts and the non-coaster enthusiasts, really good time. So if you are lucky and you go on a day where there aren't a lot of crowds like we did, weekday when school's in session, totally doable in one day. If we had stayed for the entirety of Wednesday, I probably could have ridden all the rides. I think on Wednesday I did get them all in except Verbolten. I didn't get to that one until Thursday, but then I rerode most of them on Thursday anyway. But there's so much other stuff to see. Like there's some good flats. There's some other random stuff. Like there's like animals to look at. There's probably some shows if you care about that kind of thing. So definitely I would recommend going on at least 2 days. 3, I think we probably would have been satisfied with just 2 days. We did go for 3. But really the third day was just there for the nighttime experience, because we were daytime Wednesday, daytime Thursday, nighttime Friday. And nighttime was a lot of fun. A little bit different, kind of did more of the same stuff. But yeah, Skybuck is not always open, that's true. When we were there, they only opened them at like 2 o'clock, 1:30 or 2. So something to consider. And it's not really, they don't really tell you when things open. Different parts of the park open at different times of the day. It's kind of obnoxious. So I guess plan ahead if as much as you can, if that's possible. For says, quick question, what was the drive from Williams to King's Dominion? It's about an hour and 10 minutes, I want to say. Something in that range. They're pretty close. When we did both on Friday, we drove from Williamsburg to King's Dominion, the hour and 10 minutes, drove back, hung out in the hotel for a little bit, then went back to Busch Gardens for the rest of the day. So totally doable. We were kind of beat by the end of the day, but like as far as timing and getting stuff done, it worked out really nicely. We have a couple criticisms. It needs more mid-tier family-oriented rides. This is more of something that Jordan was complaining about. A lot of extreme coasters for the coaster lovers. A lot of kiddie rides for the kiddies, but there isn't a lot of stuff in between. Like you've got the train, you've got the Skyride, and a couple of the flats, but there's not a whole lot of other like mid-tier stuff for people like Jordan to enjoy, I guess. They closed the dark rides because of the pandemic. And that's unfortunate, but if you get something similar to that to replace those, would be pretty nice probably. Don't know if that will ever happen, but could be nice. Yeah, not a great park if you have motion sickness. Yeah, that's very true. 43 asked, did you stay in the same hotel the whole trip? We did, except last night, because we did King's Dominion, only King's Dominion on yesterday. We stayed in a hotel on the other side of Richmond to make the drive home a little bit shorter. And it worked out very nicely. Made the drive home a lot more bearable. And really dark at night for no reason. This was baffling to me as someone who is used to very well lit parks, like the Cedar Fair parks I've been to. And I'm not sure if this is because they were preparing for haunt season or if this is the way it normally is. But when we were there Friday night, and we left when it closed about 10 o'clock, and it was pitch black. A lot of areas of the park where there's just like no lights. And you're walking through these paths, these winding paths that go through the trees and it's really hard to tell where you're going and really easy to get lost because the park layout is very convoluted. So it's really easy to get lost even in daytime, even easier at night. So I thought that was weird. Like, add some more lights to your park, please. It's not hard. Yeah, it was very spooky. Yeah, bringing bugs. We did get eaten up a little bit. A lot of nasty mosquitoes or something. Something ate us up. It wasn't fun. Didn't have a good time. As far as bugs go. But anyway, in general though, I think that's my last bullet point. In general, had a great time. I highly recommend Busch Gardens. They've got a lot going on. A lot of good coasters, a lot of good rides, a lot of fun stuff to look at, a lot of fun stuff to do. And it's, you know, a well-maintained park. It's expensive, which is like one of the other downsides. Since we bought 3-day tickets, those wound up being a lot cheaper overall. But then you got to worry about parking and accommodations. So all that stuff kind of adds up. So another thing to consider, but you know, if you can stomach the price, it's well worth it. And I think that's all I have to say about Busch Gardens. That will conclude my coaster report. I will be doing one for King's Dominion, the other half of our trip, very shortly. Not right now, but shortly. But yeah, that's all. Thanks for watching.